Hi everyone, Art Teacher Reviewz back with another punch needle DIY kit. This one is from Coupang, South Korea, which is like their version of Amazon. This kit is for a coaster kit, and I'm excited to see if this one will work, fingers crossed. First impressions, the kit came really well packaged, had its own little bottle of glue, a scraper to apply the glue, and a little felt backing with silicone dots on it for anti-slip, which I really liked as well. The wool seemed really nice. The needle itself also came where you could push up and change the gauges of your stitches, so if you wanted them looser or tighter, which I hadn't seen before, obviously being a novice at punch needling, but I also thought that was a really nice touch. So here I'm just applying the canvas, or what it's actually called is monk's cloth, to the included embroidery hoop. So I've just got my first roll of wool ready for the centre of the coaster, and I just started to thread the punch needle. The kit comes with a wire threader, as previous kits have as well. What I thought was quite unique with this instructions for this kit is that it actually tells you to use 2 threads of yarn or wool and thread those through the punch needle, which I hadn't done or seen before, which was kind of cool. I also felt like this made actually threading the needle a lot easier, as you had 2 threads, making it a lot thicker to thread the needle. Here I go, making my first few stitches. I'm always worried that I've either made the canvas too loose or too tight, but as long as I think it's almost like a drum when you tap it, then I think it's okay. I will link some other videos that I found really helpful during this process as well for beginners. The instructions also came with a QR code with an actual video instruction as well, so I will link that below as well. So I'm just following around with my stitches the pre-printed design that was provided. I feel like, as you can see, with using the 2 threads, the stitches look a lot more refined and also thicker, and I think this is probably a great thing for a beginner like me. So first section of the coaster, I completed it. I was quite nervous pulling the stitch out of the back and cutting it just in case it came loose, but it seemed fine. Here I'm just changing the wool colour for the next section of the coaster, again using that 2 thread method while threading the needle. Here's where I made a mistake. So for the middle section of the coaster, I'd actually been using the gauge C for those stitches, and the different gauges are how big the loops are on the other side, which I didn't realise. So I did make a bit of a boo-boo here and just merrily carried on stitching around with the white colour, still using the stitch C, and I also missed quite a big step as well, which I'll go over. So here's where I realised I had made quite a big boo-boo. Of course, I realised this when I had almost finished the white section of the coaster, and then had to redo it, which you'll see in a second. So I realised from the instructions I was actually meant to flip the embroidery hoop and stitch from the other side. As you can see, the middle shape of the coaster is a lot more refined, and that's so that you get the contrast stitching when you've finished your coaster. So somehow I managed to miss this, but realised just in time, and I was a little worried that I'd completely messed it up and the canvas wouldn't hold, or the monk's cloth wouldn't hold for another round of stitching. I also found that if you do make a mistake, what you can do with your punch needle is just gently scrape at the monk's cloth. If you do make a hole that's a bit too big, If you gently scrape with your punch needle, then it seems to bring the canvas back together so you can stitch again. So you can see better here once I've flipped over the canvas, the contrast in stitches from the centre to the outside. I did also just draw around the flower shape just so I could see it a bit better from stitching from the other side. So I finished the stitching for the outside part of the coaster, and I'm just taking it off the embroidery hoop here. And I'm just cutting around the monk's cloth. I probably didn't do the best job here. I feel like I could have maybe done a stitch around the actual shape of the flower just to get a bit more refinement when you glue the backing on, which you'll see in a bit. The glue provided was really watery and seemed to dry quite quickly. I think it was maybe fabric glue just because of the way it adhered to the wool. So I was just trying to make sure it was evenly covered so the monks had stuck really well onto the wool because I didn't want it coming off or pulling out any stitches. Same process for the applying the coaster backing, just putting loads of glue on and then trimming around. Now I think I should have probably trimmed round the flower shape a lot better because I kind of wanted a edging. So what I did was actually cut strips from what I had left over and placed those along the edge of the coaster, but I wish I'd left a bit more of a gap to do so. So here I'm just applying those strips that I mentioned to the edge. So just because I wanted that nice finished off feeling to the coaster rather than it just being bare, and you can still slightly see the pre-printed line of the flower. So I wanted to cover that. So what I'm actually doing here with the white wool is the loops that I've made with my stitches. I'm actually starting to cut through those and then trim them to get that really nice tufted wool latch hook almost effect to a punch needle kit, which I thought was really cool, and it's really fluffy as well, which I can appreciate. So yes, a complete success. I love how fluffy it is. The fact that it was successful, it's functional, it works as a coaster. I've tested it with my mug. Such a nice kit. It's really inspired me. I kind of want to make now, you know, those laptop rugs that you can like rest your hands on. I kind of want to make something like that maybe, but I know it would take quite a long time. But yeah, let me know what you think. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. Thanks for watching.